Hello and welcome to Odds on Euro final, Spain, England in Berlin on Sunday, the great final of this Euros. And we have a special show here with three of our punters. We have Alvaro Romeo. Hello, Alvaro.
Hello.
Dani Fisichella is back after the Italian disappointment.
After being knocked out, yes, in shame. But that's because Italy won the last Euro, so it's the legacy. But yeah, next time I won't be able to come back. So yeah, that's good.
And Ronan Murphy, we are curious to see what an Irishman thinks about England-Spain. Who is he supporting, for instance? Hello, Ronan.
Yeah, I don't think I would be let back into Ireland if I said I wanted Spain to lose in the final and England to win. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
We don't have Tom Rennie. I'm sure he's already nervous supporting his English team. So, guys, remember to tell us, who are you backing in this final? Who are you betting for, of course, in this game? And don't forget, press the like, subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. Well, before we forget, this is the last chance to win 100 euros with Oddspedia in the Euros 2024. So you have the link in the description. You just have to complete some tasks on 𝐿𝐴𝐵 and you can get this 100 euros with Oddspedia. Well, there you have now the 100 euros giveaway finishing on Sunday. Well, great final, Spain, England in the Olympia Stadium, and the odds place Spain as favorite. Odds are around 2.5, Spain to win, England 3.5. There is a massive shift in the odds from the beginning of the tournament until the final, because everyone agrees, Alvaro, that Spain has been the better team in these Euros.
Well, they have been, and they have beaten the strongest opponents around, because I wouldn't underestimate the level of Croatia. I think that we beat Italy very comfortably, and that set the tone for the tournament. Then Spain beat the host, Germany, in 120 minutes, but still they won that game. And then France, which is probably the ultimate challenge in international football, beating Argentina and France right now are real achievements. And I think that the mood has shifted gradually towards Spain for the right reasons. If Spain had beaten lesser opponents, let's call them Switzerland, let's call them Denmark, let's call them Slovakia, maybe the odds wouldn't be so high or so good for Spain or so favorable to Spain. But, beating the caliber of those sides, and especially with that nice style, is what puts Spain as a favorite for this game. I think that the odds should be maybe a little bit more balanced, because number one, this is a final, and number two, England has shown that defensively they are good, and then they've got big stars. And some of them, they are, by the way, improving as the tournament goes by, e.g. Phil Foden, also Kobbie Mainoo. I think that 𝗏𝗏𝗏 has been not great, but still working really hard. So I think that it's going to be a game in which Spain is going to try to impose their style, and I believe that they will do it at phases of the game. But I am very worried, as a Spanish person, of England's individual quality. I think that the likes of Foden, especially if he gets the ball in the final third, or Jude Bellingham or Harry Kane in a set piece, can be very, very dangerous too. And then the likes of Kyle Walker, for example, can offer like a difficult challenge, for example, to Nico Williams. So I agree with the odds, but I think that they should be slightly more leveled. That said, I think that Spain is the favorite, and my first thought here is going to be Spain to win, 250. I think the money is good enough. Spain has won 6 games in the tournament, and if you ask me now, who do you think is going to win the game? I think that Spain is going to win it.
Well, I don't see Spain as well that favorite. I didn't see Spain that favorite against France, England. If they showed anything in this tournament, Dani, is that they are competitive. Of course, we already know that they don't play well. But with Southgate, the results are coming. It's not an easy team to beat, and even they react when they are in the corner about to lose the games. They react. They have the quality and they have some tension.
Southgate has quickly understood that it was no time for experiment. You cannot experiment during a major tournament. So the idea of putting Trent Alexander-Arnold in midfield was swiftly ditched. They found a new balance. Finally, they understood they need to have a bit of width with the Saka. And hopefully, this time will Luke Shaw, who should be given the opportunity to play from the first minute because he offers something different. Well, obviously, he's a left-footed player on the left. And Kieran Trippier, for how good he is, he just doesn't have the same confidence to cross the ball with his weaker foot when he plays on the left. So England have found a better shape, a better mold, Foden more in central position. And against the Netherlands, it was the best performance, at least for 50, 60 minutes we saw. It still is an England side that loses possession often and sometimes very, very quickly, as the goal from the Netherlands testifies. But yes, they do have character, they do have belief. And, you know, it's a team that has come a long way since Gareth Southgate took over. He has the best record in international football among all the other international managers since 2018, 3 semi-finals, 2 finals. They've only lost under Southgate 2 of the last 13 knockout games within 90 minutes. So they are an extremely hard to beat team. However, they are no favorite this time as they were 3 years ago, but maybe that could play into their hands. None of the favorites have won the last 2 Euros final. France were hugely favorite against Portugal and didn't win in 2016. 2001, we know the history. But they have to face a strong opponent. Is this Spain stronger, more confident, more set up to hurt England than what Italy was 3 years ago? I had a look at the stats. I had a look at my notes of 3 years ago. Well, Italy was coming into the final at Wembley on the back of 33 games unbeaten, a run that then would have been extended to 37. It was a team with a strong identity, with a strong system, style of play, with talented players, with players on the picks. Spain perhaps is not quite there, although they are unbeaten in 9 games and they've only lost 1 of the last 20, but they do pose a different threat to England. They are direct, they are pacey, they are able to control the game, of course. Look, this is going to be an fascinating one because it poised one of the most attacking teams in the tournament, the most attacking teams, high scorers, of course. They average 18 shots per game against one of the most difficult to break down teams. A couple of stats for you. England have generated only 0.88 expected goals during the tournament. To put it in context, Luton Town, who got relegated from the Premier League, generated an average of 1.23 expected goals per game in the Premier League. On the other hand, they've been very, very solid at the back. They conceded England an average of 0.74 expected goal at the Euros. Again, to put it into perspective, Arsenal, the best defense in the league, conceded an average of 0.86 in the league. Okay, the sample size is reduced. I know the statisticians here will say...
The sample size, Dani. Luton Town and Arsenal have played games at home to start with, and at home they attack more. These teams are playing away. In general, I mean, what are we talking about here?
No, but you have to
totally different. It's like when you say that Everton and Germany were equatable. I mean, what is that? You cannot compare Premier League with the international football. What are you talking about?
But the numbers are very different. You know, the numbers are very. You're looking at a team that doesn't produce much.
But Luton Town plays against Burnley, and they played against terrible sides at home at Kenilworth.
Also, I think it's very arguable if that Italy was better than this Spain. I don't agree that
you have to put numbers in perspective, and the numbers I found are the numbers that you compare
with the
Premier
extrapolating
League.
Competitions.
Let's listen to Ronan. Ronan, what is your first take? Do you think Spain is as favorite as the odds show us? what kind of game do you expect? As Dani was breaking down the numbers, defensive
but they
England,
like
Spain
it.
with the ball, and England trying to counter in quick transitions.
Yeah. I like the way you came to me just to break up this fight between the others before they reached through the screen, and maybe there was assaults. It could have been like a 𝐿𝐵𝐴 scene, Uruguay, Colombia post-match scenes. We could have seen there, but yeah, I think we saw in the Netherlands game perhaps where England can be exploited, because like Dani is saying, this England team are set up super defensively. I think �𝐬𝐽𝐴 has learned from Didier Deschamps that that's how you win international tournaments. Maybe Deschamps didn't do it this time because his France team just couldn't score from open play, but usually it was the way to win international tournaments, to set up defensively, not be beaten, and England just don't get beaten, like the stats that he said shows. So I think the Netherlands game was a bit open because it was a more difficult opponent than what we've seen so far in the tournament. England's high press can kind of be exploited somewhat, because if it isn't working for them, it gives gaps in behind and in midfield. And I think we've seen that from Spain so far in the tournament, that those can be exploited. So I think this should hopefully provide for more goals and more entertainment than what we've seen from England so far this tournament. They just haven't been creating chances. They've 5.6 XG overall, and they've got 7 goals from them, but they've obviously had to score penalties too, whereas Spain have nearly doubled that. They've nearly doubled the amount of goals. They've 11.1 XG and 13 goals so far in the tournament. So Spain, they have been scoring goals, and England have not. So this is kind of this irresistible force against an immovable object kind of game. Which kind of tactical plan will come out on top? We've seen England come from behind in matches. They're the first team to reach the final after coming from behind in both the quarters and the semis at the Euros. But Spain have never lost a Euros game where they've been leading at half time. So they've never gone on to lose after 90 minutes in a knockout game where they've been leading at half time. So these are kind of facts that kind of are opposite to what Dani is saying, that you obviously can give these stats from the past, but what we have to see in front of us is kind of what we've seen so far this tournament in the past few weeks. And I'm not sure necessarily England are going to be the Luton Town of this tournament, or the Burnley or the Everton. But yeah, it's going to provide for a more open game, I would hope, because this Spain side, they look fantastic going into the tournament. I do think they're better than the Italy side that won the last time around. They have 8 competitive wins in a row. That's their best competitive record since 2010, and we all remember kind of what happened around that era. So I think this Spain side is a very difficult opponent for England, but like Alvaro said, England have been improving game by game as they've gone into the tournament. Phil Foden was being written off earlier in the tournament. Maybe he was too tired after playing so much for Man City. Howard is the Premier League's best player, La Liga's best player, and the Bundesliga top scorer, not combining better. But I think, like Dani has said, 𝐿𝐵𝐴 𝐻𝐿 could come into the team, and that could help unlock Harry Kane somewhat, because we saw every time Kieran Trippier would get the ball out wide that he would have to turn back to go onto his stronger foot. That would give the defence time to regroup. Harry Kane then would look lost and isolated, but now England can get the ball into the box quicker, and that could provide more chances for Kane, because we've seen that he likes those chances in and around the box. We've seen it at Bayern Munich, we've seen it at Tottenham. So that's why I think there could be goals in this one. I like the look of all the goal markets in this. Over 2.5 goals is a really attractive one for me. 67% of Spain's games have had over 2.5 goals, and despite England being super boring, only over half, or exactly half of their games have had over 2.5 goals too. So I like the look of over 2.5 goals in this one. I think it could be a goal fest, but I'm not sure everyone's going to agree with me.
Well, under 2.5 goals pays only 1.6, so the bookies expect a low scoring game. This is a final, and we usually don't see many goals. One of the questions, if England is able to raise the level. Only 2 wins in this tournament against Serbia, against the Netherlands. Their best game was against the best team, in this case the Netherlands, but Fox 5 was also highlighting some stats. Southgate record against teams ranked top 10, 7 wins in 26 games. So perhaps they've been also facing not that tougher opposition, and they've been advancing in scrappy wins. And now I guess, Dani, we can agree that if England wants to win, they have to play much better than what we've been seeing in these Euros.
I think a high-scoring game sees England losing. A low-scoring game, England have a chance. If it's like 3-2, 4-1, 5-1, more than three goals, England loses. I don't think they got the ammunition to outscore Spain. Can they play better than what they did so far? After 6 games, I think this is it. I think what we saw in the first 40 minutes against Netherlands, that's their level. It's a good performance, with some frailties, with some faults. The position of Foden certainly helps. Bellingham not in top form. Yeah, there is the big question mark about Shaw, but I think the midfield is susceptible to lose the ball quickly, often, and Spain can turn over possession very, very quickly. I think England will have to be very, very cautious in this one. I remember the game Italy played against Spain. Spalletti wanted to go with a back 4 and wanted to go toe-to-toe with Spain. They shred us apart. It's nowhere near a 1-0. That game should finish 3 or 4-0 if it wasn't for Donnarumma. Yamal hit the post. So I wonder if England tries the same tactic against Spain, try and go to toe-to-toe with a back 4, whether they could suffer. So perhaps three defenders plus Shaw, 3 center defenders plus Shaw, and Saka on the other side is the best way to go. Look, it's a cliche, but finals are cagey, and Euros finals are often cagey. 9 of the last 10 finals have produced less than 3 goals, dating back to 1984. The only final that had more than 2 goals was Spain demolition of Italy in 2012, 4-0. But their Spain were miles apart. Italy, although the last 2 goals were scored in the dying minutes of the game when Spain were in total control anyway. I do fancy the under 2.25 goals here, 173. Again, is the only way for me England can have a chance, a low-scoring game. I'm not saying that England are going to win, but yeah, if there are only 2 goals in the game, you win half a stake.
Well, there is a debate in Spain if this Spain is even better than the one of the golden era. I don't agree yet. The one in 2008, 10 or 12. Alvaro, what kind of game?
Nowhere near, because I don't think the back 4 of Spain is as good as the one you had.
Yeah, I completely agree. Even the midfield, Xavi Alonso, Busquets, or the goalkeeper. Yeah, I completely agree, but there is this debate that I think is not going anywhere. What kind of game, Alvaro, do you expect? In my opinion, it's going to be similar.
Seems he's frozen.
I think that I will take it from here. I heard Edu's question. What kind of game I expect? I expect Spain to know what they are doing. I expect Spain to attack, and I expect Spain not to change their style. I know that Spain can produce 90 minutes of the same football with different types of rhythm, very high or high, but it never goes too low. Whereas England, if they score, they change their approach. If they don't score and the game is 0-0, they've got a certain approach. If they are losing, they will change their approach. England, in a way, is more versatile, but on the other hand, when they score a goal and they go ahead in the scoreline, they tend to defend. I don't think that Spain will do that. In fact, the other day, Spain was a little bit suicidal against France, in my opinion, because they charged all the game towards the left with 𝐿𝐭𝐴, Nico Williams, all the midfielders going there. And sometimes Jesus Navas was on his own with Mbappé. I remember one action in which Jesus Navas had to tackle Rabiot, because otherwise Rabiot would have passed the ball to Mbappé and that Mbappé would have killed it off. So Spain can be even a little bit suicidal. Jesus Navas in the first half against France was overlapping Lamine Yamal. Pep Guardiola would never leave or let Kyle Walker overlap a winger, for example. We're talking about those levels. Spain has been very daring, very audacious, a little bit suicidal, in my opinion, but it has worked so far. And back to the XG for a second, before I was bantering a little bit with Daniele, of course, I understand the numbers that he is sharing with us. The truth is that I believe that England's defensive record is very good, and they barely concede big chances. So I have to praise them for that. However, when they score a goal, they tend to score goals from very good, very high XG positions. So when they create chances, normally the chances are very good as well. I remember the goal of Bellingham against Serbia. I remember the goal of Harry Kane against Slovakia. I remember the goal of Harry Kane the other day against the Netherlands from a penalty spot. So when England has a chance, they create a very good chance. So that shouldn't be underestimated. That's going to be hard work for Spain. Maybe England doesn't create many chances, but when they create one, it's a very good one. And sometimes it's better to have a good chance than many have chances. So Lenormand and Nacho, or Laporte and Nacho, because I don't know who are going to play, Laporte for sure, and maybe Nacho next to him, will have to be very careful, because England can be very, very, very dangerous. And when they create their chance, when they go for it, they are capable of creating really, really good chances. Another odd that I would like to share here is a draw no bet for Spain. This is in a way my safe bet. It pays 170, and if you think that Spain to win is too much, and you want to wait a little bit, or you don't see it, or you think that that's going the extra mile, why don't you go for a draw no bet for Spain? At the end of the day, you've got your kind of security or safety net there for you. A draw will be your safety net, and I still believe that Spain is the favorite, so I could go for that one too.
We have a frozen Edu.
These England performances has been too much for him. He's just kind of sitting back and letting us do the work. I think, like
exactly.
the England defenders at the moment. But yeah, I think I agree with the opinions that you've had so far, and I think that's maybe why I'm going for the over 2.5 goals. Why I like the look of it. I think that if England score first, we could definitely be in for one of those cagey matches. But if Spain score first, it should open up the game, and it should give us a lot to look at and a lot to entertain us. And Spain, the first team to score, 1.95. I like the look of Spain half-time, full-time is 4.2. I think that could make for an open game, because Euro finals don't tend to be scoreless. I know Daniela has said that we haven't had lots of goals in recent ones, but there's only been 1-0 after 90 minutes in Euro's history, and that was the 2016 shambolic Portugal going on to win that tournament. But the Euro final usually has goals in it, and 5 of them in the past, although some of them after extra time, obviously, and some through golden goal, have been 2-1. So it could be another 2-1 here. I'm hoping for maybe a 2-1 and Spain to win. As an Irish person, that's definitely what I'm hoping for, Spain to win the tournament. But I think with the way Spain's set up, if they score first, it should open up the match. It should make things interesting, and then England will have to actually start playing. So that should make things interesting. So yeah, I hope for Ireland's sake that Spain can score first, but I hope for football's sake as well that Spain can get an early goal, and that should make things interesting.
Well, everyone here, or at least Alvaro and Ronan, are back in Spain among our listeners as well, except Marco Polo, who is back in England, is also hoping that Kane could be the top scorer of the competition. Dani, I think you have a little bit more doubts about this game.
I don't know. I think Spain have demonstrated they are better than England. Of course, they play better, and the level they reached, it's been fantastic. And I agree with Alvaro. They had the better of stronger oppositions. But it's a one game, and perhaps this time England arrived to this final with less obsession. I remember 3 years ago when they played against Italy, there was this obsession mixed with fear, generating a bit of a toxic environment before the final, outside and inside the team, the fans, etc. There was too much expectancy. Well, we know England always expects a lot. But perhaps this time the route, the way they came to the final, kind of liberates them a little bit of that pressure, and that could help them approach the game a little bit better. I mean, let's face it, 3 years ago, England had almost the game won for the first 30 minutes, was a perfect scenario, took the lead early, and then retracted into the shell, and Italy built the play. But even though it was a very, very even game, in the end, everyone said Italy deserved to win, but more perhaps for the way they played through the tournament than what they actually did in the knockout stages. Italy were lucky to advance from the semi-final against Spain, so it's one game only. Perhaps this time England, non-favorites, probably for the first time ever in a game of these sorts, if you like. Maybe when they played against France at the World Cup, they were not favorites. But yeah, it's the first time, really. Maybe that could play into their hands. But yeah, I do agree with Alvaro. Yes, Spain have been fantastic so far. So you'll have to back them in somehow.
Let's talk about Yeah, Alvaro.
No, just to say that there are a couple of players in Spain who seem to be more expert than anybody else. I mean, the game that Rodri did the other day, 𝗂𝗏𝗂 is excellent. And when he retires, I think that he will be considered as the best ever Spanish right back. I really think so. But what about Rodri's game the other day against France? Because he was playing against 𝗂𝗏, 𝗀𝗵𝗏, Camavinga in the second half, and Rabiot. And he looked like better than the four of them together. I mean, the game of Rodri the other day was immense. And I think that if Rodri has that level of command against Mainu and Declan Rice, I think that Spain will have somehow like a mental advantage or something like that, because he makes everyone around him so safe and secure. You know that you can give him the ball and he's not going to lose it, and he will always choose the right pass. I mean, it was the best performance I've seen with the Spanish shirt, maybe since Xavi in Euro 2012 final.
Yeah, in my opinion, is the MVP of the tournament. Rodri, also Fabian, making a great tournament. It's going to be interesting, the battle with Bellingham also in this area. We all saw Bellingham chasing the ball against Man City with Rodri in the pitch, so perhaps it's a very similar scenario. I wanted also to check the individual markets, since we are now talking about players. The favorite to score a goal in this game is 𝗏𝗏 Kane, no surprise, 3.25, Morata 3.50. I suggest you not to touch this market. But then some other good names, actually. Dani Olmo, 4.75. We know how good he's been. Lamine Yamal, well, scored the goal of the tournament, probably 4.75, same as Ollie Watkins. Bellingham, it's 5.5, even higher, same as Nico Williams. If you have, or Saka, Bukayo Saka is 6.0. If you have to choose one, Ronan, which one would be after I tell you these spots?
Murat, no, not Murat. 𝗏𝗏 Kane. 𝗏𝗏 Kane is the obvious one, because as we've seen in this tournament, there seems to be lots of penalties awarded that maybe will be controversial, and the final could be no different than that. So perhaps there will be a decision on the pitch that the referee doesn't see. The video referee calls him over, he'll have a look, and then 𝗏𝗏 Kane will get a chance from the spot, because I'd say in the Netherlands they'll be talking about that penalty decision for the rest of time. It's going to be one of those. So I think 𝗏𝗏 Kane is the easy bet here, because there is always likely to be a penalty, and in cagey matches that we sometimes have in finals, mistakes do happen, and things like that do happen. So there could be a 𝗏𝗏 Kane goal and 𝗏𝗏 Kane to score a penalty. If you wanted to double down on it, could be a good option too.
And the Kane course, imagine that if it finishes with the national team after moving to Bayern Munich, not winning any title, and then you go into the summer tournament and you win it. Another good one, we like corners, we like cards. Spain and England, I don't think it's going to be a special tense game with a lot of cards. It's always a good bet. In Copa America, for instance, Dani, over or under 4.5 cards. By the way, the referee is going to be François Letizia, a French guy.
Under 4.25 cards for me. That pays 174. There is probably a big old cliche in football and perhaps a misconception. The finals are often tense affairs with a lot of tackles, with a lot of tension, with a lot of cards. Well, when it comes to European finals, it's actually the opposite. In the last two Euros finals, in 2016, there were only 3 yellow cards within the 90 minutes. In 2021, there were only 4 yellow cards within the 90 minutes, but they were all picked up by Italy, including the cynical foul from Chiellini in the 96 minutes. So yeah, the line, I understand why the line is under 4.25. When Spain won the Euros in 2008 and 2012, dominating both games, as they might well do against England, there were only 3 and 2 cards respectively. They don't need to be fouled. Often, discipline is very high when it comes to top sides. They don't lose their heads easily, and finals don't see many cards. Do you know when the last player to be sent off in a European final is?
Yeah, an Italian man, right?
No, 1984.
The last man to be sent off in a European final. Okay.
European final is in 1984. Yvon Leroux during France 2-0 win against Spain. So we have to go back.
Leroux saw red.
Yes, there you go. Exactly. And they were winning. He got sent off. Double yellow card that time. But yeah, normally these games are like this. And if you look at the trend, the Champions League finals is the same. This year, only 4 plays booked, 5 in 2023, but 3 of them in stoppage time as the game was only 1-0. In 2022, only 1 player booked between Real Madrid and Liverpool. Top teams, top players don't get booked easily in finals. And then you mentioned correctly the referee, 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏, who's not 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏, who played for Southampton. That would be weird. Is 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏, the 35-year-old French referee.
The youngest ever referee in a final.
200 games refereed in his career, and the average is 3.84 yellow cards and only 0.25 red cards per game across all competitions. I think he's going to keep a lead on it.
Spain already won with him on the pitch against Georgia. Fox 5 was asking about the corners market. Alvaro, you love it. He doesn't think we are going to see many corners, even if we have England that historically they love corner kicks.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I wouldn't go to that market, really. The cards market, well, anything can happen. What if the game gets a little bit toxic, obnoxious? There are players in there who have a lot of personality, character, and sometimes players who can get furious as well. So I know that 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is very experienced, but if he had to get a second yellow against Germany, he got it as well, as he did, So I don't know, the cards market, the corners market, maybe doesn't interest me as much as maybe the plain and simple full-time result, really. And also, I would like you, Edu, if you can, to flag what are the odds for Fabian to score. If you could do that for me, because my geolocation doesn't let me check those things. I'm not going to say where I am.
7.5.
Okay. Just very quickly on Fabian, not only he has scored in this tournament, but he has had almost like a telepathic connection with Lamine Yamal. The other day, Fabian should have scored against France in the first half. I don't know if you remember that one. He headed over the crossbar.
The first header, yeah.
Yeah, and Fabian tends to charge into the box a lot. And him scoring, I know that is not likely, but I understand why the odds are about that. Because Fabian should score in 1 every 5 or 6 games. So if you really want to take the risk, he's not probably going to be very marked, but Fabian is doing those runs in the box that Lamine Yamal seems to read very well. So the connection between these both has been good in the tournament.
Carvajal to score is 15, and he scored in the Champions League final. He scored already 1 goal this year. There you see the penalty that Ronan was mentioning. By the way, Viper is sending love and respect from Ireland, so he's not far from you, Ronan. Well, guys, this is it for the Euros, for the final. Any other tip, any other suggestion to our listeners, viewers? That's a no?
That's enough.
Oh, you
from me.
know.
That's enough. We discussed already enough. Well, thank you then, everyone, for their job. Just to remind you to participate in the 100 euros giveaway completely for free. We still have, of course, the Euro Tipster competition. Until Sunday, you can participate and win some money. And I hope you enjoyed the Euros. Our job now is time to go on holidays for many of you guys. So good luck and thank you, Dani, Alvaro, Ronan. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
So.